Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're gonna kind of go over how to change the just basic brakes on a 2010 Nissan Xterra. This kind of goes for anything, just the second gen Nissan Xterra from 2005 to 2015 when the last one was made. So it's really basic. You're gonna want to jack up the front of the vehicle, and I usually do it at the front cross member, and that's a safe point to jack it up at. And then I usually hit it with a jack stand. I'm not sure if that's in the shot, but I have it with a jack stand on one side of the frame. And you're going to want partial of the weight on the jack just so it's distributed correctly. Take off the wheel before you jack it, and then and then lower it down. That way you have enough room so everything's kind of sagged down the suspension, so it's a little easier to work with. So okay, we got a couple replacement parts over there, so we're going to start by removing the caliper and the brake pads, and then the rotor will be easy to come out. That's just it in a short sentence, so let's get it done. So you're going to want a 9/16 bolt for the slider pins that are on the caliper to take it off. Got your two bolts. Just gonna set them off to the side. Show you what to do if you forget where all bolts go. This is what I usually do. All right, so we're gonna take off the caliper. We'll get back to the caliper in a sec. I don't have like a tie down usually when I do brakes, but probably should. But I usually just set it on the lower control arm. That way you're not extending the brake line in a negative way. Okay, so we are going to take our bolts and I'm going to put them back where I had them originally. So I'm just going to screw them in where they originally went, so that way I don't lose track of everything, because all these bolts kind of look the same after a while, so I like to keep it organized where it goes. And if you're in a situation where you're taking apart your suspension, I usually would put them in a little baggie, a little sandwich baggie, and then label where they go, but that's pretty rare I have to do that. It just depends on the job. Okay, so we're going to take apart the hardware now to get off, to break the tension on the brake pads from the rotor. So I'm going to put these aside for now. I think the new brake pads came with all the hardware we're going to need, but just in case, I'm going to hold on to these in case I need to reuse them. Okay, then we're going to remove the brake pads. We're going to remove the hardware. There's the hardware. Okay. Okay, you're going to need a 19mm socket for the back two bolts. They're just sitting on the spindle. The spindle right here, they're just on it. Okay, so I had to pull out the cheater pipe. Yep, there you go. Got that bolt. And then go on the cheater pipe again. There you go. Oh, yeah, don't drop that. But yeah, there's that. There's the caliper bracket. We got it off. Let me get a different angle for you guys. So that's what you're looking for. These are the bolts that are on the spindle I was talking about. You just got to pop those off, and then you're golden. So okay, so now that we got the calipers, caliper brackets off, everything, now we can take off the rotor. There's the rotor. So now I'd say is a good time, inspect the front diff, the CV axles, the suspension. It's just while you have all this crap taken apart. Now we're gonna turn our attention to getting this decompressed. So I don't have a caliper bracket decompressor, so what I usually do is I'll take a C-clamp. I'll throw a brake pad in there just to compress them both at the same time. There's other ways you could do it, I guess, but this is just the way I've always done it. Okay, that's all decompressed. Takes a little longer than just having the tool, but I don't know. I've never really found an issue with this strategy I've done. It's cheaper too than buying the caliper compressor tool, and I just don't feel like buying that. So, all right, guys, back from the store. I had to get some gloves because this part is pretty important to have some gloves on, you know, and don't get any of your hand oils on your rotors. I also wanted to pick up some brake clean. So, yeah, let's get this started. So this is the most important part too that you're gonna need. So, I'll tell you why those are important. You can't really see it, but there's a lot of oil on this rotor, and with all this oil, you're not going to want it to make contact with the brake pads, because it'll just cause a lot of squeaking and such. But the reason why they do this is to prevent rusting from happening in shipping process. Just hit it with brake clean. That's it. So just gonna hit these really quick with a wire brush. It's really rusty. So okay, hit the caliper bracket a little bit. You just most important thing, just area, is to get in between here, so you have those contact points for the new hardware when it goes in. So that's just something to keep an eye out for. If you have any Loctite too, some red Loctite, that'd be really helpful. Okay, while you're at this step, just check your guide pins over these inside the caliper bracket. They're just that's what helps guide your brakes back and forth when the hardware is in there. If it's like really stiff, you're gonna have to go through, take out the guide pins, and you're gonna have to re-grease them. That's just something important to look out for. All right, so we're gonna tighten down those spindle bolts. Just take your breaker bar or whatever. We're gonna tighten it up. We're gonna hit it with some brake clean. We're gonna hit the rotor. So, okay, get off all that oil, like I said. You're going to be using this quite a bit, because if your hands keep making contact with it, you know, because I've got some Loctite on my gloves, it's gonna kind of get all over the brake rotor. So just keep an eye out for that. Okay, we got our hardware right here. We're gonna get the hardware out. Okay, good. This came with the new little brackets I was talking about, so that's good. All right, so with these, we're gonna kind of just put them back the way they went. We're gonna kind of snap them in. It's really easy, they just sit in there. But yeah, this is why I said clean out a lot of the rust that's in there. That way they all kind of sit in there pretty good, nice and snug. Okay, so we're gonna throw in the brake pads. We're also gonna compare brake pads. Looks about right.
Okay?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay, we're gonna throw in the little hardware here. Hardware goes on the out. And there you have it. We're good there. Put that off the side. Let's go ahead and now put in our caliper. Tighten up your slide pin bolts. Okay, now that you have those, we're going to tighten it down just enough on those slide pin bolts. Okay, tighten down. One last time, hit it with some brake clean, just so it's all clean, good to go. You've been touching this. I've been touching this definitely in here. I know it's not going to make contact in there, but as long as the surface is entirely clean, we're going to hit it. All right, and that's that. We're going to throw on the wheel, call it. The wheel is back on, so pretty much what I recommend when you finish up is go inside your truck, hit the brake, and you want to compress those calipers so they can open back up to the diameter of which your brake pads are. So we're going to do that right now, finish up the video. All right, key in the ignition, partly on, you know, whatever. We're going to hit the brake. All right, good, all good. So we're not hitting the floor or nothing. Got perfect, you know, stuff coming back right back at me. All right, guys, hopefully that was helpful. So this will just be for the driver's side of the video, but the same exact process is for the passenger side. So if you like the video, please subscribe, comment, like, share this with anybody who needs the help. Thanks.